Welcome
I am
back, guys,
eating.
to the Beyond Condition podcast, the voice of bodybuilding. And today we're reunited as a squad, guys, for a roundtable with Anastasia, who looks like an absolute legend. The style, I just love it.
Oh, thanks.
Me
Have
and
you always
Tara,
had this have you always had this kind of style, Anastasia? Like
Yeah, this is
fucking
just
out there.
it. Yeah,
Fuck yeah. It's the best way to be.
thank you. Yeah, I don't even think about it. So,
we spoke about this on stage actually, didn't we? Because for me, bikini is very much you've got to fit a certain look, and then you guys, as you climb up the more muscular divisions, it's like you can have your hair a bit more funky, or you
yeah.
can do certain stuff, and it's certainly, it's something that I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. And then obviously your routine, and I know it's going to be different as you move through the different
I was
categories.
actually having a conversation with one of my mates about this, whether to put my hair extensions back in for when
Mm.
I compete. And it was like, oh yeah, well, you're gonna look more feminine with longer hair and all this sort of thing. It's like it's women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you appreciate the fuck witchery, and I ended up tying it up last time anyway.
Yeah. I think it's just easier, isn't it? It's just like flapping around. That's why I braid mine, because I don't want it like flapping in my face and shit.
I
Because
remember
then you have to like sweep out the way and fuck it.
you get it braided before you leave, don't you?
Yeah, plus as well, like it's so fucking expensive to have your hair done. Just braid it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was talking about cost to compete with a client the other day, and I was like, so, and obviously in the UK there's a lot of federations, but when you go towards two bros, I mean the Arnold's cost me all in all with tan, makeup, hair, accommodation, travel, entry fees was like 3 grand, and obviously we've got the bikini and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I was on stage for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but like two bros is our like NPC over here, Anastasia. Like
Yeah, I've
it,
seen them a
it-
lot.
yeah, they're just so expensive. They're like pull your
Why are they so expensive? That's like crazy.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, how much did you like how much was it to enter? Do you remember, Sarah?
Yeah, so
Uh,
I did 3 categories because you can in bikini you can do like novice, height category, you can do all the different ones. So it's £250 per category, so it's 750 just to enter.
my God.
Oh God. That's
I
disgusting.
hear it's like $100 a category, and sometimes if you're crossing over, they'll just add like $50 for a crossover.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
like
Jesus.
literally, that was the flights to Chicago.
Yeah.
The cost of that.
I was like, well, it's the Arnold, it's a one-off opportunity, I'm going to do it. But it's real with regards to, even if it is the $100, and then you have got, depending on your category and how you want to do it, your hair, makeup, tan,
Mhm.
etc., etc. If you're looking at, travel and accommodation, Mana speaks about this. When I was making my ebook, she was like, "Have you mentioned finances?" I was like, "Yeah," because as coaches in the space, it's important for us to almost prep them for that as well, isn't it? Rather than be tanked off the
Well,
back of.
yeah, nobody expects it to be as expensive as it is. Even if you think you have everything you need, you don't towards the end.
For
And
sure.
it all just adds up, doesn't it? And then you're like, well, you need to be aware of the financial situation, don't you? And then people are like, oh, it's really expensive. Well, I told you it was expensive.
And
It's
then
bikinis as well. Like now I'm sponsored by Nikki, which is sick. But obviously you have to sort of, as we've spoken previously when we did our roundtable about sponsorship and things, it takes some time for that to actually occur. So if you're buying your piece or your bikini or whatever we want to call it, that's expect. I've spent £600 on a bikini before,
Oh yeah.
Mm. I remember my first bikini, because obviously I didn't really have much money. I just gave it to some I can't even remember the brand of bikini, but I just said, "Here's £100, like just do whatever." And it was like the worst bikini ever, but it was like 100 quid, and it was like just that first bikini vibe because it was so bad. It's like fuck paying anymore. I don't have any money to be able to pay for a nice bikini.
The
I
first
bought
time
mine off eBay,
Oh my.
Nice.
but I bought a bikini category bikini because I was oblivious to the difference between bikini and figure.
Yeah.
And I literally didn't realize until the day of the show and ended up having to tie basically the top to the knickers to make it cross at the back like a figure bikini. So yeah, that was fun.
I love it. Now, Anastasia, obviously, last time you came on the pod, you were getting ready for a powerlifting meet, but we
Yeah,
spoke,
that didn't pan out too well.
yeah, we spoke about it over message, and essentially it was a bit boring compared to bodybuilding. So let's expand. What's the vibe?
Well, I just wasn't enjoying training, right? Like I always look forward to training with bodybuilding, even when I feel like shit on prep, I look forward to it. But it was getting to the point where I would come into the gym and I didn't even want to be there because the workouts for me were just monotonous and boring. I mean, bodybuilding is monotonous, but in a different way. Like you can push differently through sets. You can do something different every week to improve. With powerlifting, you either get that lift or you don't, and
Mm.
that's it. The end.
Mm. I
It's
felt
not like,
like
oh, I put a lot of effort in today. It doesn't matter. If you didn't get the lift, you didn't get the lift.
yeah,
So,
I that's like one of the reasons why I stepped back from powerlifting because it is just a different kind of monotonous, but not a fun kind.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get that. Totally
It's
get that.
it's because I did a bit sort of in previous off seasons, like bit what you were doing, Anastasia yourself, like sort of should we throw this in the mix and what have you. And I did definitely get into, when you're going for a 1 rep max, etc. But that was for a short space of time. It's definitely not something that I want to do for the whole time. And it's a very different, like I remember I'd be going for a 1 rep max for my deadlift and I'd be in the toilet going for a wee before and I'd be nearly crying because I'd be thinking, if I don't get this lift, what's the fucking point? Like, I've literally failed. And then you walk in the gym, don't you? And the bar's there and you walk up to it and it's like, and then if you don't get it, it's fucking devastating.
No, it is, and that's the thing. Like, you can't fail a bodybuilding workout as long as you're putting forth 100% of everything you have. You did what you needed to do, but powerlifting, you can give 100% and try again next week.
So,
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I say to clients sometimes is that when they're like, "Oh, I didn't progress like on X, Y, and Z movement or whatever," and you think, actually, did you go into that session 110%? Yeah, well, fuck yeah, well, you've done what you need to do because you've gone in and got it done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. Totally different.
I feel
Absolutely.
like
so
as
it
well,
was kind
sometimes,
of similar with the CrossFit background.
Mm.
Like you could do absolutely everything to peak for a show, peak for a comp, and just like maybe not sleep quite so well the night before, and it all just goes to rat shit
Mm.
again.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that can happen with bodybuilding, but it's it's still that kind of tangible metric on the day. Whereas
Mhm.
obviously with bodybuilding, the hard work's done by the time you get on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, posing is hard, but that preparation side of the actual essence of of competing isn't down to a numbers game or like
Yeah.
having to actually do something within a certain time frame. It's what the judges decide on the day. It's kind of out of your control. Whereas with with lifting and with CrossFit and things like that, it's all kind of on you at that moment in
Mhm.
time. Just
Did
felt
you
like the
ever
pressure was a bit.
did you ever do any like CrossFit competitions, Ro?
Yeah.
no,
I did the games, which was like the open, which was all online.
Mm.
Um, Officially, I was the second fittest paramedic in the UK back then, and
So
something like the eighth fittest paramedic because they break it all down like that as well, which was quite cool.
mm.
God knows where I was out of everybody, but that was still kind of
Still
cool.
bragging rights, I'll take that.
Mm.
I'd pass the plaster that everywhere.
I love how you actually touched on there with, when you get to a show, the majority of the work is done. I sort of frame it like that. And I feel like, it's certainly something we could expand on in regards to, of course, we all get nerves or some way, shape, or forms, some sort of emotions, etc. And there's certain things that happen on the day. But I think it's a good message to sort of give to people that are just getting ready for the stage for the first time or even going back to stage and they're early on in their bodybuilding career that I think people sometimes feel, it's like, oh, it's hard to accept that actually, a couple of days out, you start cruising in and you're trying to bring the stress down, you're facilitating a positive physique response. And it's, when you're the night out, when there's not much to do, you're like, ah, because you've been so used to everything being,
Yeah.
deficit and food starts coming in, you're looking at trying to, manage stress, etc. And it can be a bit of a dead space, can't it? It's a bit of a weird one, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain to someone doing it for the first time.
That like 2 days out feeling is so strange because you're excited because like you're there and you're starting to look the way you want to look. But again, like what you said, you're so used to like, okay, I have cardio, I have this meal, I have this water, I have this, I have this. And now you're just sitting there and you're like, oh, well, am I doing anything at all? You
Yeah.
know?
And then time goes really slowly. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna be on stage in 2 days. And then it just feels like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you almost feel like, I don't know, I'd probably say previously I'd feel a bit guilty for sitting down and
Yeah,
raising.
you almost do, and you know you have to, but you're like, should I walk here instead of take an Uber? Should I be like what should I be doing right now? And the answer is nothing, but that's like the hardest thing to do when you've just been doing things for the last 16 weeks in a row.
Absolutely.
In Atlanta, I think it was the Wednesday before the show. My back was all locked up, so I decided to go for a massage. And I was trying to get an Uber back, and it was literally it was like a 15-minute walk. But as you know, like 15-minute walk when you're 3 days out from the show
No good.
in 38-degree heat is not what you want to be putting your body
No.
through. And Uber, it was like a 40-minute wait for an Uber, but I was due a meal. So I got on one of those little electric scooter things.
Legend.
Fuck my life. Like I literally all the relaxation that I had from that massage was just
Gone.
gone as
Fair,
I'm there,
fair.
like on this scooter, rigid as fuck, trying not to die, like trying to remember which direction cars are coming from when I'm trying to cross the road,
Oh
and
my
not
God, three
Dan
days
had,
out.
Dan had asked me to get some shit from Whole Foods, so I'm balancing that on the handlebars of this blimmin'. Oh yeah,
Imagine just seeing that. Imagine just seeing this shredded female just hooning it down like the
Pissed
road.
off too,
Yeah.
angry the whole time. Just
Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of my way. How do you girls find it with peaking and accepting food per se? Because there's gonna be, there's gonna be different people listening, right? But I feel like in the early days, I used to be like, this is quite hard to see my food go up because you've been used to it being so low. Have you got any sort of tips or anecdote from yourselves or with clients as to people that do struggle to peak with accepting the food side of things?
I mean, for me, the whole prep, I try and like take the emotional aspect out of all of it. So, I mean, because that's what it is. It's an emotional response because we know that we need the carbs to peak properly. Like logically, we know that, but again, it's all going back to emotions. So, like this prep that I'm in right now, I'm actually getting refeeds for the first time in 5 years during a prep. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Are you
Um,
still with a different coach now, aren't you?
yeah, I am. I
Mm.
am.
Yeah. How are you
Um,
feeling that?
I love it. I'm so
Oh,
much
refeeds, I
happier. Yeah,
mean.
it was a really good move. Well, that was what, because I had been in this little powerlifting thing and I was not enjoying it, but I'd committed to it, so I was going to see it through. And then I did a seminar online with my now coach, and I was listening to him talk about like nutrition and training and how he does everything. And I was like, oh my God, this guy like
How
knows a lot. And he actually like said some things that made sense to me as to why my last prep didn't have the result I wanted it to. So I was like, okay. And I got off the call with him. We talked a little more, and I ended up hiring him on the spot. And that was when I also quit powerlifting same day. I was like, well,
Yeah. If I'm gonna
way
get
more
prep done.
exciting. Yeah. But it's been a different prep experience than I've ever done before, but I do really like it. But yeah, he gives me refeeds, and he asked me the other day, he's like, "Well, what do you want to have?" And I said, "Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to have anything. Just you
Yeah.
tell me what you want me to have, and I'll just do it. Because I don't want to get that emotional association to any part of this process. Like I want to see it for the tool it is, so that way when am close to a show and I have to deal with adding in the food and all the other aspects that come with it, there's no emotional response. It's okay. This is the next logical step to make me the best athlete on stage I can be, and that's it.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's certainly a really nice way to frame it because it is like as you move through a deficit, there's so much that contributes, and we forget that food is nice at times, and there's a past to all of us, and a lot of the time, food is a celebration of whatever's going on, or maybe you feel like shit, so you want to have food. So, as you say there, the emotions attached to it, we are human beings, but if we can go sort of bot mode to a certain degree in a prep setup, it is a good idea.
That's
Also,
the
as
thing.
well, when
Like,
you reverse out,
yeah, you can't get rid of those emotions. And I don't ever tell people like, oh, you should never have an emotional attachment to food because that's not a good way to live your life either. Like you're allowed to like food, you're allowed to like a certain restaurant, certain like that's fine. but you need to know when it's okay to feel that way and when you need to just shut it off and focus on what you're doing. And, be an athlete, be a competitor. Like, that's the biggest issue I see with a lot of people. I remind them, like, at the end of the day, this is a competition. Like, you're competing against other people. Yes, you're competing against yourself, but you're competing against other people too. So, like, stop treating it like it's a only this journey of yourself through starvation and suffering and all this shit, and like be competitive, like do better than other people.
Yeah, I think everyone's so afraid of being like, I want to win. Fuck you, bitches. Like,
Now, why is that?
yeah, I think maybe it's because people don't want to come across like arrogant, I guess. Like it's only really in the last like few months I've been like, when I step on stage, I want to win and I will do whatever I can to win. I don't care about that. Like I think a lot before, but before I would be like, oh yeah, I'm just going for myself. Like, no, I'm going to win. Like, and I think that's just maybe a shift in mindset with some people, maybe with experience, possibly.
And
But the men
awareness.
do that. Look at what the men post. They're like, "Oh, I'm coming to win this show. I'm the best I've ever been. I'm the biggest I've ever been. I'm the leanest I've ever been." And the girls are like, "Yeah, I'm excited. I've put a lot into this. I'm gonna go have fun." Like, why?
Yeah, fucking
Yeah,
hell.
I've never been one of those I'm coming to win people.
Mm, mm,
It's the way, and Dan and I've had a lot of conversations about this, and I think for me, it's more about managing expectations of myself. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I can't go into a situation thinking I'm going to win because then the decision is out of my hands. And if I don't win, it's then how do you move forward from that disappointment? So that's not to say that I don't have. It's like, for example, with Empro, we've kind of got that's the show we're definitely doing, but what happens after that depends very much on what happens at Empro. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
I think you're
well,
gonna win. I've seen
if
your picture.
it's if
I
it
think.
if
I've
it's
seen what you look
if I'm
like.
top if I'm top 10, if I'm between top 10 and top 5, then we might do Portugal. If I'm inside the top 5, then we'll do Portugal. If I'm outside of the top 5, top 10, sorry, it's a case of, well, do we do Portugal but do it in WPD?
Mm.
Or do we just go into a bit of an off season? But
There's no
then
way you're gonna be
there's
out of the top 10, bro. Are you kidding me? Who's showing up to this? Come on.
there's some big old chicks out there in Europe
You're
though.
you.
But I'm
You're
not I'm
one of
not
them.
you think of Korblover, I'm not that. Like condition wise, yes, I can out condition her, but size
Pretty
wise,
big to me.
Is Cora Blaver doing it?
no, I don't think so. Because she's already qualified.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, she has, isn't she? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um it was just the one that popped into my head.
Mm.
It's so I'll kind of go in with right. I really want to be in the top 10 because I really want to be able to do my routine. And as long as I'm in top 10, that to me is a win to be able to do my routine because that's the bit that I really love about being on stage. Hence why I'm sat outside the gym because literally once I finish this, I'm going in the studio to not start, do some work on my routine.
Fuck yeah.
But that's just how I have to think about it. And then
Hey, but-
we've also got there's a Germany show, what was the
Oh,
UK show.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
I saw that. It's 20 weeks
it's
away, isn't it?
it's on my 40th birthday.
Hey! Happy birthday.
So conversation with Dan last night, it's kind of like irrespective of what happens with Empro, I want to I want to spend my 40th birthday on stage. And it was either a case of apply for Rising Phoenix and hope to get selected, and that's the day before. But if I don't get selected for Rising Phoenix, then I can do the Germany show actually on my birthday.
Oh,
So that'd be quite cool.
That would be sick. That should be quite a good show, to be honest.
Mm.
That Germany show.
I love that. I love as well where you speak about the routine and being on stage. We could probably delve into this a little bit with posing and the commitment to that. I feel like, as coaches, I'd imagine we're all expressing how important this part is. And I feel like it can often be overlooked and underrated. But actually, if you're not nailing your posing, then how are you exhibiting your physique, right? Like there needs to be in a prep, right? I understand the tail end. You're fucking hanging out your ass, you know. Maybe this is your first time if you're listening. Maybe it's your 10th time. Doesn't change, you know, it gets tough. But also I think there's merit in, or I know there's merit in, you know, shifting around the times you pose as well, and doing it when you are tired and having that established habit of second nature, because you don't want to get to peak week and be going, shit, I don't know my posing, you know, and that's going to hit different with what you were talking about earlier with the winning mentality, and combined with what you're saying, Mana, it's like, you know, if you're presenting your physique through your posing, your routine, etc., that's going to show a winner's mentality as well because you're taking it seriously. And I don't think that everyone does take it as seriously as they could, if you know what I mean.
I remember I saw someone post the other day. They were like 2 weeks out, and they were like, "Oh, I've only just started practicing my posing. Like, I'm working with a pose coach." I think, fucking hell, bro. Like, that's not something that I would be saying on social media. Like, get your
No.
best gear, and you should have been practicing fucking months ago. Like, it's just
Ideally in
embarrassing.
the off season.
Yeah, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Posing should be part of your routine. Like you have this amount of time you do cardio, you have this amount of time you train, this amount of time you prep food, and this amount of time you practice posing.
Yeah. It's
It's
weird.
It's something I've actually, and being a posing coach, it's quite hard to admit that unfortunately so far in this prep, the time I've had available for posing has not been as a larger amount as I would like. And I'm watching Dan, who's posing like a few times a day, whereas with my workload, it's really difficult with the blood reporting side of things to be able to allocate, right, I'm going to do posing at this time because there's no predictability about when the reports are going to come in to write. So it is a really hard thing to shoehorn in. And it's currently my biggest source of anxiety through this prep is finding time to pose. And it's, for me at the moment, it's my rest periods in the gym in between sets. That's where I'm doing the majority of my posing. And I've spoken about it before. You know, people have different attitudes towards whether you should be doing that or not. And when you're training, you should focus just on training. And it's like, well, what's wrong with coming off the leg press and busting out your quarters when you're gassed still from doing a set? To me, that's the closest you're going to get to mimicking stage conditions.
mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
Well,
I'm
and it's
probably being a
honestly
bit.
helpful too because you have a pump so you can feel the muscle better. So it's even better to practice your posing sometimes like that too. I actually started 2 days a week. I'll go into the gym about 20 minutes early for my fasted cardio. And they have a posing room at one of the gyms I go to, and I'll just go do 20 minutes fasted 2 times a week. And then I'll try and do it post workout like 2 times a week. And so then you're still hitting it the majority of the week, you know, but it's not as stressful as trying to do an hour every single day at a certain time.
Absolutely.
Maybe a bit TMI, but obviously with Dan being my coach, the we kind of do like pre-bed check-ins. So he'll be having his
We do those
bedtime
too, but
wee.
recreationally.
Sorry,
they do them
what?
recreationally.
Yeah.
He'll be doing it. He'll be doing his like bedtime pee, and there's like a mirror right next to our ensuite. So I'll be doing some posing practice. So he's having a look at me at the end of the day, and I'm practicing some posing as well.
Love that for you.
Quite an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
That one.
Any moment possible. But like you said, Anastasia, with that example, ties into if you can, you know, grabbing spots in different times. Again, Mana, where you say in the evening, you'll do it after this afternoon. Like it does as well. I think sometimes for my category for bikini, you want to get your posing out the way, which I understand. I understand. However, if you're on stage at 8 p.m. or something ridiculous, which can happen,
Mm-hmm.
never posed in the evening, and it's just little loopholes like that that we can notice. You know, we all compete ourselves, you know, it's something that you can share with clients, but it just helps because also when you peak, and although you're doing less, you can sometimes feel quite a mong. So being able to get that second nature, knowing that, oh, I posed at 8 p.m. the other night, I was dragging my fucking ass through it, but I still did it, I still found the discipline to do it. It's just arming you with those tools, isn't it? To whatever happens, guys, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, and plus you never know if it's like really tight between you and like first and second place, and it really does come down to those rounds. Like you know that in confidence you've practiced your posing and you're not going to be outposed. Like that's something that I've always thought like no one would ever outpose me because I'm not losing a show because of my posing. Like no
Oh,
fucking way.
yeah.
I think that is just something that should just not happen.
Well, it's just so controllable, right? Like it's one of the few parts of prep that is truly in your control because sometimes you can't control how
Mm,
your body responds, what's going on in your life, but you can practice your posing or you cannot.
mm.
And either one will be evident, whatever you choose to do. But that's like entirely in your control.
Yeah, and it is a hard thing to do. Again, could be underrated because when it's the thing is with bodybuilding, you automatically think it's sort of like training, nutrition, PDs, whatever, supplements. But the posing element of it, to a certain degree, it's one of the hardest bits because it's very hard. It's also very taxing, as you go through the sport and anyone's listening that's later in the game, I'm sure we've all got injuries, we've all got things that are, my back does not like posing, but again, it's like we have to sort of surmise what we can do there and be able to still do it. But as you get into the depth, it's like, shit, what more do you want from me? But yeah, I do find on show day as well, if you get an overall right, so maybe you've got to go on in the morning, or if you've got pre-judging, like it's different across obviously the countries and the categories, but that you could be on stage multiple times as well. And you don't want to lose to posing fitness either if you're gassing out your ass.
But I don't know if they do this over there, but over here, if it's close, they'll put people through rounds and rounds of posing just to see who can continue to hold it. Like if it's close, especially at the amateur level here, they love. I've seen them put guys on stage through like 6 rounds of mandatories just to see who would hold it and who wouldn't. It's crazy.
The lower back's like, fuck off.
Yeah, and they're like
I
up there
don't
like
feel
smiling,
like
but like
I don't feel like they do that so much in the amateurs over here. I don't know
No,
No,
what your
I was
thoughts.
literally about to say the same to be fair, Ray. They're
yeah,
very
they're
much
just
like
It's
on off.
it's some of the other non-NPC federations are definitely better
Mm.
when it comes to stage time for athletes,
Mhm, mhm.
but I do feel there's an element of rushing them through
mm,
with the NPC shows over here,
Yeah.
which is sad for the athletes because it's like what 20, 24, depending on your body, if you're natural, how long prep you've done.
Mm.
And
yeah.
then when it actually comes to being on stage, you're not there for very long.
Mm.
Well, how long do your NPC shows usually run, like from start to finish? Let's say finals. Like when would they start and when would they finish?
They're normally 9 a.m., aren't they? Start.
Yeah, I think first class goes on at like half nine, 10.
Hmm.
It really depends on what classes are in the show. I suppose like a British
Yeah,
Finals would go on has gone on till like 11 at night, depending on how many bikini girls are there. But
Yeah.
if it's like a short show, I can't really imagine it being finished I can imagine it being done by about 3 o'clock normally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3, 4 o'clock, I'd say.
So
because
we'll
they
have
don't.
NPC shows till like 1 a.m. here.
Yeah, that's mad.
Because that
And
was
that was
that
before Fit Model.
that was what I found really interesting about Chicago. Actually, was because over here, as a rule, generally they'll do the amateur shows and then they'll do the pro show after the amateurs are done.
Yeah.
Whereas Chicago, it was the other way around. So women's bodybuilding finished at like 6 p.m. Well, no, it wasn't quite that late, actually. It was about 5 p.m.
Mm.
And they were just starting the amateurs.
Hmm. Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yep.
I was at Tampa
Oh,
Pro one year. My friend was competing in bikini and she won the overall. So I stayed for the whole thing. She did not get off that stage with her overall trophy until 2:30.
Oh, fuck that, man. Oh, that is so
Yeah.
late, isn't it?
was it a good trophy?
I was like, it's a new day, bro. I want to go home. Like, where?
I'm hoping a
To
trophy
be fair,
fucking
Huh?
humongous.
Yeah, it was big. It was a big
the
trophy, but I don't know if it was a 2:30 a.m. appropriate trophy. But
the year I turned pro, which was lockdown, so it was the one show, the one NPC show they did that year. Um, and they did the bikini classes before they did the more muscular categories.
really?
So
How did you do
I
that?
did I did figure and WPD, they still had women's bodybuilding afterwards. And I remember getting back to my car at half midnight,
Yeah, because now
and the show started at like 11
Yeah, I felt
for bikini. But because I think some of that was the COVID restrictions as well, though.
Yeah, for sure. But that's a long fucking day. Oh my
that. Then why
God.
would
Yeah.
you put bikini first? I don't understand.
there's so many in bikini, isn't there? It's like, although I went to a regional and they still split the height categories. Now, people were saying that they still split the height categories so much so that there was more people on the overall stage, but there was only one bikini in each, and there was one that had maybe three or four, but there was like one competitor they won by default, and then there was an overall, but without that, there wouldn't have been such an overall, and I was like, huh? So
Yeah.
you're elongating it rather than bring height
Yeah.
categories together, and then you get more people winning by default.
Mm.
Well,
Mm.
they do stuff like that, and then for WPD, they'll have like masters and open and height classes, and then show day, they'll just be like, we're just gonna do one class.
Yeah,
Yeah, silly, no.
yeah. There's so
Mad.
many bikini normally, isn't there? It's like back in the day, it'd be like, fucking hell, I'm competing again. Oh my God, there's more, there's more, there's more. How are we going to fit on the stage? I don't know about your stages, Anastasia, but some of the regionals over here, they're quite small, aren't they?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, like you could maybe fit, I don't know, if people were actually posing and spreading the lats, maybe like 8 to 10 people, especially if it's big guys, and then it's sort of like you sort of concave around the.
Yeah. No, all of ours are pretty big. They'll put, I mean, at a lot of our NPC shows, they'll have like a parade of competitors beforehand, and they'll bring everybody out on stage at once, so we can fit the whole thing.
So everyone's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I've ever seen that over here.
I think it was I think it was Classic at the Olympia where they had everybody on stage. I seem to remember, and it was just at prejudge. It was just mental. Like
Oh, there
five
were
rows.
so many classic guys, weren't there?
I bet you were like,
When they do that,
personal
though.
space. Can I have some personal space?
This is my circle.
So, Sarah, what are your plans at the moment? Are you full off season or what? Is it public?
Yeah. So we're kind of just reversing out of that sort of like prep phase, I suppose you could say. And like I want to have an off season with Callum first. I know obviously Callum did my training before, but having him control every aspect of everything it's been a game changer. Like it really has. Like, I'm the best I've ever looked going from a reverse into like an off season. Like and I've and obviously we all know that there was no hard feelings between me and Tom. It just came to a natural end after 10 years of working together. Things do come to a natural end, and we both agreed that I should go and try something else. And Callum was I was someone, well, I always wanted to or Callum was always in the back of my mind as someone that I wanted to go with anyway. And yeah, so I've never looked back so far. I think I've been with him 6 weeks, and it's been such an eye-opening experience. And the methods are very good. Like I'm back on a meal plan. Like everything is just way more controlled. Whereas before, I think I got admittedly a bit lazy with just macro tracking and things like that. Whereas now, like because everything is so controlled, again, like Anastasia's mentioned about the emotional side of things, like I just fucking eat the food that Callum tells me to eat. I go and train what he wants me to train, and then I come home and sleep. Like it's just, and now like one of the reasons why I pulled prep was because I just couldn't get into a routine because obviously everything that was happening here, like buying the house, getting engaged, getting a puppy, like all of these things, I thought, it'd be fine, it'll be fine. And then I couldn't get into the swing of things. And like looking at me at 9 weeks out, I just wasn't where I needed to be. And I even was speaking to Jordan Peters about it yesterday. He said to me, he was like, I saw your pictures at 9 weeks and you were about 4 weeks behind. And I was like, yeah, no, I 100% agree. I just wasn't where I needed to be. And since we reduced that stress down, now I'm actually leaner and tighter than I was at 9 weeks out because that stress has been removed. Like I'm feeling good, my mental space is much better, like I'm having therapy, and I've just been able to actually step back and be like, okay, so what the fuck was going on? What the fuck did I need to change? And like everything that I need to put in place has been put in place. So essentially, I suppose coming back to the question is, you never say never with this year, but I think because I want to have an off season, a full off season with Callum to kind of get to know how he approaches certain aspects, like maybe a shortcutting phase in the future to see how Callum does it, and then look at early shows next year. But it was that Germany show that is 20 weeks away, and that would give me so much time. But again, like do I kind of want to go, even though I'm feeling better? Like, do I want to commit to another show this year? Like, or do I just be like, you know what, off season, see what happens, solidify the tissue that's been put on my frame, and then just go again next year? Like, there's no rush. Like, we're so young in this game. Like, why was there a rush to get on stage this year? Do you know what I mean? Like, so. I don't think I just put too much pressure on myself. Like, I think I was really trying to get on the social media side of things this year, and in all the grand scheme of things, like, I don't like that. So why did I try and do it? Like, I always like to just have that step back, do what the fuck I want, and then just turn up. And that's because, us four, like, we do bodybuilding because we love bodybuilding. We don't do it for external validation. And I think, fuck me, like, why the fuck did I go and do that when actually I don't give a fuck what other people think? I just like bodybuilding. So I think next time it's just going to be, I'll just turn up when I turn up. Obviously, let people in my close circle know what I'm doing, but I'll just go for it when I feel ready. And I think I'll probably maybe beginning of next year when the calendar comes out, but it's ultimately just down to Callum and when he thinks I'm ready, to be honest. But yeah, like, Callum is just amazing. I think he's brilliant. And obviously I thought Tom was amazing as well. And he is amazing, but time moves on and it's time to, grab it by the horns and just continue to move forward.
Yeah.
I love that for you. That's great. Hell yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different, fresh set of eyes. When you've been with someone for 10, 11 years, like, and he is brilliant and he changed, Tom changed my life, and I wouldn't be where I am today without him. But like I said, some things just come to a natural end. He's still my best friend, but I think there was the level of professional and friendship, and I think that line was getting blurred, and he would agree.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes you just need someone who is that you don't have that friendship. Well, obviously, me and Callum are friends, but we're not close. So
No,
it,
I get what you're saying
you know what I
completely. That's
mean? So, like, if
perfect.
if
Yeah.
something was wrong, I felt like it might get in the way if I told Tom of our friendship. Whereas if I said, Cal, this is fucked, I would say this is fucked and not really care. And Callum would say, actually, no, it's not. Here's why. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's establishing, being able to, because it is, like you say, it can work for quite some time. When I had, was it Josh or Nath? Because obviously Josh Maley used to coach Nath Styles, and one of them was talking about, I think it was Josh, but basically they became to a point where they were like, we're best mates,
Mm.
and it would have been Nath, and he said to Josh, I think it's best if we actually pursue our friendship.
Yeah.
And I find another coach, and he obviously went to Cal, but he was like, and they felt really, it was like a natural ending, as it were. And now they're like bestest friends, and they support each other. But they started to feel the friendship was more important than the
Mm.
coaching, which
And
was
like,
quite a nice thing to hear, actually.
yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, it wasn't a decision that I made overnight. I mean, I even I spoke to you both about it actually, about like a good couple months ago, about whether, my decision going forward was to be with Tom or give it another season or whatever. So it wasn't something that I came to a conclusion overnight. It was months in the making of thinking, actually, what do I want and what do I need to make me an even more competitive pro athlete? And sometimes you just it was hard and it was upsetting, but at the end of the day, like, even Callum said, you know what, you'll be upset for a couple of weeks, but then it'll, your friendship will be able to blossom even more because it's only what you focus on instead of being like coach, athlete, friends, like all of that stuff. So, it's only going to benefit our friendship even more, and we're probably going to be even closer because we don't have the element of coach and athlete.
Yeah, yeah, and it can work.
I
Oh,
10
absolutely. It worked for 10 years, do you know what I mean? But I think because there was just, I wanted so much more. And like I said, like, being where I was at 9 weeks out, thinking, actually, we've missed the mark here. Like, and I don't have the time to be missing the mark. Like, there's one thing that, yeah, if I stood on stage and was not nearly and I placed worse or was not nearly as good as I was last season, that'd fucking kill me. And where I was at 9 weeks, I just wasn't ready. And I was saying like, look, push, push, push. And obviously, Tom being as good as coach as he is, he was very relaxed, very chilled. But for me, I was like, I need to push. Like, I'm not where I want to be. Like, I'd much rather be ready early than be sitting here just kind of moving slowly into the show. I just wasn't. I'm not about that. Like, we're either gunning for it or we're not. And yeah, so super, super exciting stuff going ahead. Like, I'm really excited just to see what happens and see where it goes. And if I do end up doing Germany, then great. But if not, it is what it is. Like, just kind of to go with the flow.
because we love bodybuilding.
Exactly. And it's made me fall
some
back in love with it as well. Like before I pulled it, I just was not enjoying it. And I think fucking hell, that is a major red flag for me because
Yeah.
we love bodybuilding, right? Like, and I didn't want to start to resent it and sit there and be like, ugh, like, I didn't want to get up and pose. I didn't want to do my bikini. Like, I just didn't. And I thought, I sat there with my other half being like, this just isn't me. Like,
Yeah.
And now like I'm creating those good habits by posing after training every day, like, and just so when I go into prep, it's just a routine. Like it's just
Mm.
posing after training, and the only
Yes.
thing that changes, yeah, the only thing that changes is going out more, moving more, and eating less. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and I think there was such a difference between off season and prep for me that when I started prep, I was quite overwhelmed by it. Whereas now I'm like, just going to be less food, more movement, and that's it.
That definitely makes it hard when your off season isn't as like structured as a prep to switch into that because like this switch into prep was the easiest it ever was for me, but my off season was just like prep. So for me to flip that switch, it was just the same thing I was already doing, but with cardio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And obviously, in the off season there'll be the meals out or whatever, you incorporate stuff. But I've certainly found that as well. Like it when I started this, it's not prep for stage, but this diet, I was like, wow, like I'm just really enjoying like it's been very surreal. And as I've tried to sort of share on social media and stuff, my physique response is a night and day difference.
Mhm.
Like, I'm like, wow, and I'm not getting ahead of myself or anything like that, but it's just like I didn't expect to be here in 13 weeks. Like it's very surreal. And all I can attribute that to is better stress management and not being so pressure. Obviously the stage isn't there, so it's a bit different to a certain degree, but it's like it just went, I'm ready to prep. I'm ready to do a diet. All right, okay, I'm just gonna eat less, move more, like you say, factor it in. Now it's getting and I'm 13 weeks in. I'm definitely noticing, and that's why, Romana and I are going to do this sort of mini series of what happens in a later into a diet. There are definitely things that happen that you start to notice, your sleep and various other things. But it's going to be a good opportunity for us to do this because that initial bit, the first 9 weeks, I'm like, yeah, 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 and then things start to change. But you're already in it, right? So this first portion, it's like you're so brought into it, you're in diet mode. So it's a very different thing to like, fuck, I've started prepping on a weekend. I fucking hate this.
I'm finding this prep that my biggest mental struggle with this prep is that I don't feel the suffering that I felt in preps before. And
Weird.
I'm like, kind of think, like, are we behind? Are we on track? And then
Wrong.
it's remembering the crucial factor for me is remembering that this is the first prep where I am a full-time bodybuilder and I haven't had a job. Obviously, I have work to do, but I don't have a job to do. I don't have
Mhm.
shift work. I don't have disability assessing work to do. So it's like, well, of course it's going to be praying. Sorry, I don't know if that picks up on my headphones or not.
Oh yeah, it's back.
Sorry, I didn't think this through. It's a really long container train as well. Oh, China shipping. Oh, still going.
Mana's
It's
next.
still going. Hey, oh no, I thought it was going to end. No,
There we are. There we are.
no. Look,
Mhm.
look at this thing.
It's the whey protein.
Yeah.
It's just never ending. That's completely distracted me. Um, yeah, so it's the first prep where absolutely everything is set up to be a bodybuilder. Like with the coaching side of things, my clients know that my routine in the mornings is to get up, walk the dogs, come do my fasted cardio, eat my pre-workout, train, and then they'll get their responses later on in the afternoon once my bodybuilding stuff is done. And it's just remembering that it's not I haven't got as many stresses in play that are making it a struggle
Yeah.
It is weird. Like
rather than the prep not progressing how it should be. I think was the
it
point of
is
what I was
weird
trying to get
space.
at.
I
Hmm?
feel it's a weird space. Like I was literally talking to Matt about this yesterday. I was like, I'm so used to suffering at the tail end of dieting and what have you, and I almost again we've touched on it before, but also for me, I was funneling so much trauma into it, so I looked for suffering. Being honest, I wanted more. Make me suffer. I will do only 10 months in an off season, and then I want to suffer. Give it to me again. Give it to me again. Give it to me again. Now I'm like. I'm happy. I'm me. Like, but this is hard, but it's not the suffering that I was searching for before. So like you said, Sarah, mindset shifts, and you'll probably find this, from when you go, whether it's a mini cut or a prep, and hopefully you find it. It's like just feel good. It's really weird because we're
Yeah.
used to being, getting after it. How are you finding this prep, Anastasia, with, accepting obviously the refees and the different approach, but are you finding it just
No,
vibing?
I love it. I'm like on cloud nine every day. I wake up before my fucking alarm like a crazy person at 2 o'clock in the morning, just ready to go. Like today, I didn't have to wake up until 5:30, and I think I was up at 4. And I don't even have cardio today. I was like, I'm ready. But I mean, it's like you said, my mindset has been so good going into this. Like I felt like we set up my off season perfectly. Everything in my personal life is perfect. I don't have any worries, any stressors, anything. I've just been enjoying it really completely. I mean, everything's progressing the way we want it to. I'm leaner than we thought I would be at this point. Yeah,
It's out
I'm
Yeah.
of
having a
body,
great
out of
time.
body experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you announced your shows, Bab?
I've announced like 3 different ones to different people, but I'm only doing Chicago Pro for now.
Oh, nice, mega,
I
sweet.
know, like,
Uh, is
But
it because forgive, were you transitioning from WPD to bodybuilding as well? Were you bodybuilding last year as
Yeah, I was
well?
always bodybuilding.
Ah,
Yeah.
ah.
I'm gonna do
It's
Chicago or maybe Tampa because it's right here, and then Atlanta after that if I need to.
because they're the other way around this year, aren't they? Atlanta and Chicago.
Yeah, Atlanta is like end of August
Yeah.
this year.
how long is your prep, Anastasia?
16 weeks. So
Oh,
we're about 4 weeks in. We lost 15 pounds already.
Damn, fair
Yeah,
play.
yeah, it's been crazy.
it does as well. It gives the merit to, I know we talk about it a lot. Your example's perfect, Sarah, where you were talking about your own circumstance. If you, I mean, is there ever the right time to prep as such? But if you can get most of your ducks in a line, and if you get to a point like you did, Sarah, where it's like something's not right here, and that's why I was crediting you for doing what you did, because it is an example. If this is not the right decision right now, we got to be honest with ourselves, because then you can explore what we're talking about now with
Yeah.
so much more of a positive experience and physique outcome. And we're in a physique based sport. We forget that, right? Like when you're funneling and stuff, your physique can often show that, and it's a very difficult, it is within yourself, isn't it? Like you say, sorry, it's months of like, what?
Yeah, yeah, and one thing that I say to a lot of people not to do is I was just using prep as a cover up to a lot of problems.
Mhm.
They weren't problems, but a lot of life changes that I needed to work on and I need to solidify and stuff like that. Like buying a house over here is a fucking stressful situation.
Yeah.
Me too.
Uh, probably the same mistake.
Everywhere, probably.
Yeah. And then like even like little things like, and you look, well, I mean, don't know whether you have a dog, Sarah, but or you, Anastasia, but like even
Yeah.
getting a puppy, like fuck it, my whole life changed because
Mhm.
I never had dogs before, and you think, oh, I used to be right, but he is just he's a baby, like he's
It's
just
like having a toddler
isn't
forever.
it?
Yeah.
And I was
Ever.
Yeah.
You're like, yep.
I was not anticipating that at all. And then when obviously I've got another job now, which I just kind of wanted on the side for financial aid. And I thought, fucking hell, like now my job's got to have me around. And I was between two jobs. And then I was like, fucking hell, like, and then it was just things like that. And I was like, I was waiting for the day to come where I was going to be like, yeah, it's fine now. It's just phase. And the day just never came. And I was like, actually, I'm just using prep as a cover up to things that I actually need to reassess and sort out. And, when I prep now and when I prep later down the line, Murph will be older. We'll have a bit more of a nicer house to be living in because there's so many things that we need to do in the house anyway. And it would just be, again, having more of my ducks in line so that I can just fly into a prep and not have
Yeah.
to worry about what's going on and stuff. Like, so yeah, I think, and one major thing to take away is to just not use prep as a cover up. Like, make sure that you are in every way ready to prep instead of being like, oh, I have to worry about my finances or, I'm buying a house right now. Like, do you know what I mean? So always make sure that your ducks are in order. And it took me ages to come to that decision to pull it because a lot of us may feel some embarrassment about it, and I know I definitely, I was worried about showing my face in the gym for like 2 or 3 days after because I didn't want people to think that I was a failure. But at the end of the day, like I got nothing but positive praise for it because people were like, you know what, like fucking fair play. If you're not ready, then that you're not ready. Like that's absolutely cool.
Yeah.
And you know, and a lot of people said like even now, and I know they probably wouldn't have said it now. Some people saw my 9 week out photos, and they were like, "Nah, there was something going on there." And I was like, "Yeah, there was," and that's why I pulled it. So, you know, I think the decision, as hard as it was the best one for me. Like, do you know what I mean? And
I
bodybuilding's
should
always,
respect that more than you just doing it because you said you were going to do it and not being your
Yeah.
best, not being able to put what you want into it.
yeah. Well, it was funny. Like, I had the discussion with both Tom and Callum, and Callum, I kind of put everything on the table with Cal, and I said, "Look, like, I don't know whether to just pummel through because I can diet for fuck's sake. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll diet if I need to." But he said, "You know what, Sar? Like, if you carried on and you did qualify for the A, would you want your first Olympia to be in this mindset?" And I said no, and that's when I pulled it. Fuck that. Like,
But
you know, the O is something that I've been dreaming about since I was fucking tiny. And imagine going to the O and being like, I don't even want to be here as your first Olympia. Fuck that. Like, no,
no.
thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah, I remember you wrote me. Yeah.
It like it kills me that I was in that headspace where it was like I've been dieting for 11 months whilst trying to manage and decompress 20 years of PTSD.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
like literally uh, I did a full bore seminar that Sarah was at, and I got asked that question, didn't I? It was like, what was the best bit about being at the O? And I kind of had to almost check myself and not be like finishing it. Like
Yeah.
coming off prep was the best bit about the
Oh,
O,
God.
which is a horrible thing to say because, like you say, you don't want your first Olympia experience to be this. I just want to get it over and done with because I am now done with dieting and I just need to sort my head out. But it was just, on the one hand, that prep was what kept me going through that mental health issues. But on the other hand, it did take away the enjoyment of the experience at the same time.
yeah.
I suppose you can't really be present when you're in that headspace, can you?
And then the post show setup as well, you know, actually what's that gonna look like? And this is in I mean, I'd like to think that the four of us we've done it for a good amount of time. We can talk about these things, but imagine starting your first prep and you're
Mhm.
funneling shit into it, and then you don't get a placement, say, you know, this is a fictitious example. All right, we go home after the show, and I'm sat on my own again, and my fucking head is full of shit. Guess what's going to happen? So, you know, these conversations are incredibly valuable because if you're listening and you are, you know, new to the game, etc., don't feel like we're, you know, because we've done it for years, we're talking different languages, you know, relate this back to your circumstance and where you're at because it's super important. And the best thing you can do is speak up, you know, be honest with yourself. But like Sarah was talking, you know, reach out to some trusted individuals, be able to, you know, if you're not sure about going to a coach yet, speak to someone, hopefully, you know, closer if you have got someone. I know it's hard because not everyone's got loads of people, but voice it because as soon as it comes out your mouth, it's like sometimes you tell yourself right, and you're like, "All right, okay, I need to do that now." So it's yeah, it's super super important. It's yeah, wild thing this sport, isn't it?
It is.
Wild, wild, wild. Anastasia, what's next for you today? Are you PTing again? What's the plan?
I'm about to get off this call. I'm going with a group from the gym to a strongman gym we go to about an hour south of here to train some legs. Yeah, it'll be good.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been with a couple other pros lately, guys, so that's been really fun to like push myself with people that are stronger than me. So we're gonna go do that today in like 5 minutes. I'm gonna
I love.
peace out.
It's gonna be so.
Yeah, I need to go and pose before that meal disintegrates into nothingness. And
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, guys, thank you for obviously we got to coordinate time zones when we've got our G Anastasia coming from across the pond. One day
This
she'll
worked out.
be
This
UK.
is yeah.
One day she's gonna come and see us. I know it. And of course, guys, if you've got any questions, if you've listened to the episode or you want to speak to any of us about coaching, etc., then please let us know. And the Instagram handles are in the description. My people, peace out. We gave the
peace.
people what they want.
That's it.
Yeah.
I see you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Latest taters.
Bye.
Bye.
Potatoes.
Potato. Latest taters.
Give me some chips. See you later.
See you guys.